Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Repressed Humor Issues. I'm Dan,
And I'm Daniel.
and this episode is going to be as confusing as fuck. So, as you know, Ryan is off gallivanting around the icebergs. So, we've brought in a replacement for Ryan, and if he tries hard enough, and if he's just good enough, maybe we'll finally replace Ryan like I've been promising to do for 3 seasons now.
I think Ryan, if I replace Ryan, Ryan should be very embarrassed by that fact, if we're being completely
So,
honest.
is that your sales pitch for me to let you replace him? Because believe me, that's a very, very good sales
That's right.
pitch. Just so
Right,
you're
like I
aware.
think it would make Ryan feel bad, right?
That's the
Like
point, though. I mean, what about what we've done does not lead to the fact that I'm only doing this to make Ryan feel bad?
I think if Ryan, I can't think of like a bigger insult to Ryan than getting replaced by like the straight theater kid.
Well, you realize he's a movie major, right?
Yeah. Oh, good
Yeah.
old an RTVF or whatever they were called.
So all he could do is watch. He never participated.
Uh,
You participated.
Ah, that's actually I've never thought about that. Yeah, the film guys are the cucks, and, and the theater guys are the bull.
Oh, okay. So the first word for the title of this episode will be cock.
Okay.
So earlier on today, I was trying to use AI to be able to make some disparaging pictures of a certain current president of ours, and I've found out how difficult it must be for Ryan to get some of the images for the cover art that we have
hmm
because Gemini, Google Gemini, Copilot, and ChatGPT all shut me down on trying to make the image that I was making. Yep. And all it had to do was with the penis from the South Park episode,
Okay,
and they
so this
would
is what
not.
I know we wanted to stay like away from, but one thing I will say that I do find very funny is like, especially, someone who's been in the industries that I've been in, right? I've been like, hey, I feel like we should maybe make some rules, laws, and stuff around AI. And like, not 3 weeks previous to that South Park episode, the administration is on the record saying like one of the worst things we could do to the American economy is regulate the AI industry. The day after that episode came out, they were like, maybe we should regulate
Yes.
the industry.
My favorite image from that was the meme that came out after that was Satan sitting up at the podium saying, "I'm suing South Park for
Yeah,
$50 million or whatever it was
I
uh,
think
for for making it look like I was sleeping with Donald Trump."
I
Yeah.
think my absolute favorite is just is Cartman looking really sad with a woke is dead t-shirt.
Yes. Yes.
It's just a great image.
Did you see the newer episode that just came out?
The Charlie Kirk one,
Well,
just
Charlie Kirk was barely in it.
but yeah, that's how I
Yeah.
know it from the subreddits that I follow that he's like, yeah, but yes, the one that is sort of like more of the manosphere influencer verse roast as opposed to the roast of DJT.
Yeah. But I think the whole idea of how they make fun of Christy Noam, because 3/4 of the episode is her either shooting a puppy or getting her makeup done because her face is falling off. And hopefully that's not a spoiler. I know this is a brand new one, and I know you said you didn't, you just saw the subreddits,
Well,
but
unfortunately, I feel like, I'm sure you've seen that Onion headline, right?
which
The
one?
like, devastating. Maybe it was Reductress. It was like devastating. Worst person you know makes a valid point.
Yeah.
When the
It's
administration came out and was like, this show hasn't been relevant in 15 years, I was like, eh, I mean, she's not wrong, right? Like,
yeah.
it's been a while since I've cared about an episode of South Park, right?
Yeah, since the movie, it's just been a move towards irrelevance for me. I
Yeah,
mean,
same.
there was the episodes where it was how big Kyle's dad could shit and that sort of stuff, and that was about it for
I
good stuff.
think
When when Tom Cruise was the biggest shitter, he could do like 120 curricks or something like that. So
I feel like the last episode that I remember like actually like dying laughing with my friends was the two-parter they did making fun of Cloverfield. I don't know if you remember
I
that, where,
I don't remember
oh my God, where it's like the whole joke is that it's just guinea pigs.
that. Okay.
And like what they do is they have people running around being terrified and terrorized by just like actual, they've just green screened South Park onto like guinea pigs just kind of like moving around. And so that
Right.
like they'll like animate like a guinea pig like eating a piece of straw and it'll be like a person, right? But there's nothing aggressive about what the guinea pigs are doing. They're just kind of walking around. Randy is running around looking into a shaky cam, just going like, I'm so startled. Over and over again. There was one really good bit that I remember with my buddy and I that we just loved, where it was like, it turns out the guy in charge of the Pentagon is one of these guinea monsters, and someone calls him out. They're like, "Are you like a guinea pig?" And he goes, "No, I'm something far more evil." And he like transforms, and it's just a guinea pig in a pirate costume. And
Yeah.
you just hear a guy really lazily go, "Arg." I have
That's think
such
about it.
respect.
They probably I've seen some of the making of South Park, how they go from ideation to actual episode, and it used to take them like 4 or 5 days to
Right,
go
wasn't it like 10
from
day wasn't 10 days to air? Was that the name of that documentary they did on it?
something
Or did it
like
have
that.
7 days to air? I can't remember.
Yeah, because it was the Human Centipede episode that they were doing at that point too. So, which was interesting at best. But I mean, their production time is way down now because it's all computerized. So they don't need the animators that they used to have. They just need people in computers telling the computer how to move the mouths of the
It is kind of,
characters now.
have you seen, this is a bit of a non sequitur. Well, not a non sequitur, a bit of a jump tangent. Have you seen the the clip from the Studio Ghibli documentary where it's
No, I
Hayao,
haven't.
so it's Hayao Miyazaki sitting down with like four dudes who are trying to sell the studio on like, it's not explicitly AI, but it is machine learning for animation, right?
Hmm.
With the idea that it would be able to learn repeated motions, right?
Hmm.
Specifically. So it's not building things necessarily whole cloth, but it can help automate like walking animations and eventually like learn enough about different characters that you could say like this is this person's walking, blah blah blah. And so Hayao
That's
Miyazaki is sitting across the table from them, being like, what is your, like, what is the plan here? What do you want this to do? And they're kind of like skating around. He's like, the plan is to replace the people in my studio who animate this, right? Like long term. And the guys are like, I, I mean, yeah, save you overhead. And looks directly in their eyes and goes, I've never heard something so disgusting in my life. This entire technology disgusts me. It's like watching a dead thing come out of the ground. Get out of my office, please. And then, like, his right hand man, who's like very polite, is like, the interview is over. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you.
that's like I listen to NPR because I'm
Yeah.
beyond the point where music interests me based off of the music that comes out these days. Yeah, I'm that old man. If come out onto my yard and see how long it takes me to start yelling. But um,
I
they were
mean, you
talking
yell at
about
me,
how
and I've never been on your yard. So
I yell at you for other reasons. Most of them are because I'm the better Dan.
it's true.
But
I should have done a bit. I realized I just put like Daniel C. I should have done like
so
slightly
realize
dumber Dan.
what what Daniel's talking about is we have labels that we can put on us so that we know who each other are, and but they don't show up in the video when we output this. They'll show up if you look at our TikTok shorts, but that's about it. But every week, Ryan and I put a different weird thing. Like last week, mine was buttered sausage. For
Oh,
the Gary Busey thing, that ended up being our moment of zen.
ah,
Um, and we always have a different one every week. So that's why I'm the better Dan this week, because Daniel constantly we work through interactions together where he calls me the better Dan
yeah,
to our potential clients.
yeah, better Dan, smarter Dan, wiser Dan.
Yeah.
Look,
So
there's
I
nothing, if I've learned anything in my long career of being alive,
is that a question I'm supposed to answer? Don't
if I've
I
learned
told you
anything in my
don't
long
throw
career
them.
of being alive, is if you can put expectations onto someone else,
I'm just
you're
warning you.
golden.
You keep throwing them the 60 miles an hour right over the center of the plate. I'm gonna swing. You're telling me to swing. I realize I'm making a sports analogy to a theater major, but I think that one can crack. I think
Yeah,
it
you
can
but
make it through.
okay, yeah. You're making a sports analogy to a theater kid from Boston. So like so
Yeah.
so there I did go through a period of time between 0 to 11 where the only thing that mattered to me in my life was the Red Sox, sometimes the Patriots.
I cannot know you anymore. That would have been the Bill Belichick era for the
Oh,
Patriots and the Tom Brady era, and realize that Tom Brady ended the career of my one of my favorite quarterbacks, Drew Bledsoe.
oh, I mean, dude, wait, did I tell you this? Like I
No.
like know the Fluties.
Oh God.
I should say no. I'm excited. Acquaintances. So the um Troy and Brett Flutie like lived in the area where I grew up, and their kids were in all the IM sports. So
Of
I knew the
course.
Fluties, and I believe there was one time we had some Bledsoe crossover. But look, I loved Drew Bledsoe, man. I got so many
Yeah.
good memories of that long, lanky SOB getting
Yep.
just
Hammered.
annihilated.
Yes.
Poor
I
guy.
mean, that was in the era that they didn't care about concussions. If you got a concussion, they gave you the smelling salts and you went out the next play and played. So
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point they're going to find that he has the most enormous amount of CTE of any player ever in
I mean,
existence.
it's like all of my memories of him as a quarterback when I was a kid are him just getting his absolute clock cleaned. Because
I
like
was hope
Patriots had one of the worst O lines in the game for a long time.
I was hoping you weren't going to say some of your best memories of Drew Bledsoe were of him lying down, because then it was a completely different conversation. Just so you're
Yeah,
aware.
poor. I mean, dude, poor guy. He's just like the number of times he got laid out. Like truly, I don't think there's any. I'd be curious to see what his like lifetime sacks are compared to like an average quarterback now, right? Like just
Realize
put him up against like what are Bledsoe's like average sack like I got sacked a season versus like Mahomes, who is someone who like runs around and gets in trouble a lot, you know?
Well, but when you run around, you take less of those type of hits than when you stand still. It's when you stand still in the pocket that you get obliterated.
Yeah.
And just so you're aware, there is this little tool that I've discovered. It's called Google, and it will tell you some amazing things. Like if I type in quarterbacks with the most sacks per game, it will give me
A
that
list?
a list of it, and it's actually David Norrie who averaged 7.5 sacks per game.
Oh,
I don't know who he played
I
for.
don't know who he is, and also he can't have played that many games with the amount of sacks.
Games games played two. And they
Just say
don't
Oh
They
no.
don't have a picture of him. It's just a shaded outline of a person because they just don't have anything. Oh God, his birthday was November 30th, 1963. So he played in the 80s too,
Oh
when
boy.
they had the giant equipment that did absolutely nothing to protect you from damage. So he played for the
Bledsoe.
Jets, had a total of 35 completions on 68 attempts, with four interceptions. Good Jets quarterback at that
I'd
point.
say for the Jets, that's not bad.
Yeah, and he only had a 5.9% interception rating in those two games.
So I did look it up. Bledsoe was sacked 467 times in his
In
14-year
how many
career
games?
in 194 games. So
Okay.
he averaged 2.5 sacks a game, roughly.
Yes. Yeah. See, I grew up being a Green Bay Packers fan. So I was used to Brett Favre just getting massacred on a
Did
regular
you have did you
basis.
ever have season tickets?
No.
I'm about to say
I
because it would have
was,
made you a, a part-time owner of the
yes, I
Green Bay
know.
Packers.
But I realize I'm from Canada originally, so the reason why I was a Green Bay Packers fan was where I lived in Canada. That was the closest team that I could get a television broadcast of the NFL. Otherwise, I had to wait for CFL games, which happen all throughout the week, so it was less predictable, so you couldn't watch. Whereas every Sunday at 1 o'clock, I could watch the Green Bay Packers play. And I started watching about the time that Brett Favre started playing and getting wholly destroyed on a regular basis. But I've been
I
in Lambeau Field, I can't even count how many times. I've been from the highest level of the bowl to the lowest level in the bowl, in the cheap seats and the suites. I've been all over Lambeau Field.
I've always wanted to go to like it's funny. I've actually never been to a professional football game live.
Professional baseball,
Professional baseball, plenty, tons.
okay? Professional hockey,
One, I've been to a Bruins game.
professional basketball,
No,
professional soccer.
trying to remember if I saw the Revolution
Yeah. I've been
because
to
that's what it would be.
three major sports and then NASCAR, which you would not consider a sport. It's more of just redneck
Yeah,
hysteria
but
of
it
some
is
sort.
fun. It is kind of cool.
Well, so here's the thing. I went to a race. I've been to a number of races, but I went to a race in Talladega. Well, Junior was still racing. Okay. And they had a green white checkered because somebody wrecked with like 4 laps left. So they're doing this green white checkered. And on the restart, Jimmy Johnson screwed something up and that cost Junior the lead. And Junior ended up farther back in the field and didn't win. Well, what I found out is everybody in the state of Alabama have the weakest throwing arms on the face of the planet because they were trying to take their cans of beer. I'm guessing half of them were empty, half of them were full, but they were throwing them from the top of the stands, trying to get them onto the track. And they were not making it. Now, we had a pagoda over top of us.
Right.
So everything was raining on top of the pagoda, not on us. And we invited some of the people in front of us under the pagoda to avoid the rain shower of beer
Beer
cans
cans.
coming down, but not a single one in our area made it over that fence onto the track.
It's got to be empties. I feel like if you got a full, you
These
could
are the
send that
people
baby far.
these are the people that put on their good overalls to go to their Sunday church.
Hey,
Okay?
don't you be knocking my good overalls now, son.
The two places where you will see people going in their after church overalls are NASCAR races and Golden Corral.
Man, I have not thought about Golden Corral in a long time, and that's crazy because I live kind of in Golden Corral Central.
Yeah, so we did Celebrity Cage Match 2. We called it the Enraged Employee Edition. And we did not put Golden Corral in the lineup for some reason. Waffle House made it pretty far, but I saw this. I'll put it up when I edit this. It's a review of a Waffle House. And it's a meme that's going around right now. It says, came in for the eggs and hash browns, left with a black eye and a new girlfriend. I don't remember what happened between 2:31 and 2:47 a.m., but the waitress said I held my own. And what I found from that, I actually looked it up. That I held my own actually comes from a story of a guy, I can't remember his first name. I think it was Alex, but his last name's Bowen. He went into a Waffle House. Everybody was asleep in the Waffle House. So he made himself a burger, ate the burger, cleaned up after himself, left, and came back later that day to pay for his burger. And Waffle House offered him a job.
Hell yeah.
Now, think about the guts that it takes to be able to go into a Waffle House and cook your own meal.
Walking
Because
behind the counter at a Waffle House is insane.
But imagine the person that's cooking back there is working at the Waffle House because their criminal record is so long they can't get a job anywhere else. They can't even
Oh,
be a tow truck driver at that
I'll
point.
I'll actually counter that and say, I've worked in restaurants for a while. I worked in restaurants for a long time. And most restaurants, they'll take you with a criminal record. What makes Waffle House special for their line cooks is they seem to only really ask one question, which is,
Would
my good fellow, dost thou know how to throw hands?
yes,
I don't
I've
care what your criminal record is. I see that you did time for arson. What that doesn't tell me is I'm going to leave you alone in a room for 5 minutes with Tebow over there. If you come out alive, you got the job. Because,
uh,
dude, let me tell you the stuff that I myself have seen at also, okay, this actually comes to this is very near and dear to my heart. So I'm a theater kid who lived in the South for a long time, which meant that I have a lot of fond memories of being at Waffle House at 2 in the morning. That era is over.
mhm.
The Georgia Waffle House in particular, post COVID, they're closing they'll stay open 24 hours, but they're closing the dining rooms at 11.
So, did you hear the story of the guy that actually that while they were doing the you could get unlimited pancakes at the Waffle House, he stayed in the Waffle House for 24 hours and tweeted his way through the entire 24 hours?
Guy's my
That's
hero.
but I honestly believe that the only place that somebody can work that would be more depressing or more violent than working at a Waffle House is working at Chuck E. Cheese. Now, realize I
That's
say
got to be the
this,
ultimate liminal space at this point, Chuck E.
but
Cheese.
here's the thing. There's a Chuck E. Cheese in Brookfield, Wisconsin, that is notorious for how many times a day the police are called to that location. Okay, more than any other restaurant chain in all of Milwaukee. And Milwaukee has some pretty
Yeah,
bad places.
Milwaukee is Milwaukee.
That's you go down Fond du Lac Avenue and there's problems being certain races while you're walking down Fond du Lac Avenue. I mean, it's just not a good place to be. Um, and I lived in Milwaukee for a while. I know the area fairly well. I knew which areas to avoid, but that Chuck E. Cheese was not in the bad area. That Chuck E. Cheese was in one of the better areas of Waukesha. So it's really interesting because not only was it the place where the police were called most of any restaurant chain inside of Milwaukee, it was also where the police were called the most of any Chuck E. Cheese in the entire nation.
Okay, I hear you. My first question is, how many Chuck E. Cheeses are left?
Well, there's this thing called Google where we can actually go
But no,
into
this
it
is
and
a good
type.
question because I
Mhm.
have a lot of fond memories of Chuck E. Cheese. I would actually even argue at this point, yes, at this point in my life, a man. I am no longer a boy. But as a young boy, I have many good memories of Chuck E. Cheese.
So there are 468 locations in the United States as of
That feels
July 10th,
so
2025.
high. That feels like so many.
They did declare bankruptcy, so it's surprising that there's that many open. And there are none in the Dakotas for some reason. And there are none in Nebraska, which I find odd. And there's none in Maine or Vermont. And
Okay,
they have them.
Maine,
They have three in Hawaii, and they have none in all of the Dakotas.
none in Vermont is completely unsurprising to me. That makes a
Right, the
lot of
laws
sense.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, none in Vermont makes a lot of sense. None in Maine is actually a little surprising to me.
yeah, yeah. So
None in the
we've
Dakotas
actually.
and Nebraska would lead me down a path of being like, oh, the rat just doesn't like wind.
So, what state do you think has the most Chuck E. Cheeses?
Jeez, no pun intended. Um, I would hazard a guess that it's like that it is a northeastern state, that it's like shockingly like a New Jersey or New
Nope,
York or something.
nope. It's California.
I guess land mass and population will do that.
Second is Texas. California has 76. Texas has 62.
You know what I
So,
really think about Chuck E. Cheese?
what do you
Chuck E.
think about
Cheese
Chuck E. Cheese?
walked so that Bucky's could run. I don't think we get our incredible, insane gas station with a beaver mascot without the priming of the pump, if you will,
Yeah. So
by
I
Chuck E. Cheese.
I lived in Madison for a little bit, and Chuck E. Cheese had a ripoff in Madison that there's still controversies to this day called Rocky Rococo's. Okay, and believe it or not, their pizza was actually better than Chuck E. Cheese's. Now, that's not a high bar, but their pizza was better than Chuck E. Cheese's. Their animatronics, not so much.
I I think about like the animatronics part of this a lot
Well,
because
think what they could do nowadays with that if they had the money
right,
to invest in the restaurants.
right, because like here's the thing. It was as a kid and even as a teenager pretty fascinating that like they put all of this effort into like heavy machinery to
So that
like
kids
do this.
so kids could dance for like 4 minutes every hour.
Yeah, and they just
That's
like
all it was there for.
and yet I think about now.
Well, have you seen the? It's probably one of those SeaWorld type places where they have the turtle from Finding Nemo that he responds to the
Yes.
crowd,
Yes.
and I don't know how exactly they do that. There has to be some sort of AI involved in it. But imagine doing that with Chuck E. Cheese today.
Well, I think I'm pretty sure the SeaWorld thing is or the Disney World thing with Crash, the turtle,
Yes,
is it is probably a certain amount of AI for the animation part.
right.
I'm pretty sure what they have is an actor improvising on the fly for the
Yeah.
voice. But you know, give it time.
But they could have somebody typing the stuff in for the voice and have AI generated into the turtle's voice.
I think that would still take, I think that to me is less likely simply because that would take too long.
I don't think so because we used to have an AI generated version of Stephen Hawking's that would read a certain thing that we would do every week. I can't even remember what it says. It was really corny, but we could set that up in like 25
Right.
seconds,
I just
and
mean
that
on the
was a
fly
free.
responding to people. Like I'm talking, I think it actually takes more time to like have an on the fly response, type it, get it to the AI than it does to just have something that's mapped doing facial mapping for someone that's just talking on the fly.
I think you'd be shocked at how easy it is because probably what happens is it's somebody that speaks into a microphone as opposed to typing it, and it just converts the voice using AI. And our system, like I said, it took 25 seconds, and that was a free interweb service that was just the crappiest service that could do an okay Stephen Hawking's voice, which does not take a lot of horsepower to be able to do, but it still was a thing that we did.
Hang
So,
on. I'm
oh,
doing this
you're
right. Yeah.
finally figured out how to use the Googles.
I'm looking up Turtle Talk with Crush.
See, what's happening here is worse Daniel is finally realizing that better Daniel has some good ideas.
Turtle Talk with Crush. Dang, it's been around for a long time.
Like longer than the AI that we have that could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
the attraction opened in Hong Kong Disneyland and on August 10th, 2008.
Ooh, yeah, there was no AI. There was not even
Yeah.
good machine learning to do something like that at that point.
Uh,
So,
the show is a blend of computer graphics, image projection, and interactive improvisation. So it's
yeah,
voice activate Crush's movements and voice activated lip sync are rendered on the fly so that the turtle's mouth moves in synchronization with the actor's words. So
right.
as of now, it's still an actor.
But they could do that back in the 70s with like the Thunderbirds where they had somebody's mouth over top of the animation and they were actually talking.
I actually
I
I went on a date with speaking of Disneyland. I went on a date with a girl recently who is considering taking a gig which is like essentially like Universal Studios theme park in Japan.
okay.
And the thing that's crazy is it's like a year contract. It is like a full year that you're there. You don't pay anything to live there. Like your housing's covered. You have a salary and everything, but you are owned for a little while, essentially by the company. Like your schedule is like it ain't 9 to 5, baby.
Yeah, and I'm sure that what inside of that schedule, it's the same as the soldiers that guard the unknown soldier's tomb, where they can't drink, they can't do drugs, they
Hmm.
can't be out at a certain point. Their shoes have to be shined to a certain level of gloss. Their
Yeah.
testicles have to be shorn within a certain
Gotta make
distance.
sure that they're never like like how
Lopsided.
some yeah, how sometimes like when you're just like walking and you're just like, oh no. You ever have
So,
that? Okay, this is a real question. Do you remember? I don't know what health class was like in your day, but I feel like they scared the shit out of me with testicular torsion and the fear of the
oh,
concept of that.
no, realize our teacher was smoking at his desk while we had to do that. That's the era I
So
come
like that
from.
was the thing that was like burned in my brain. It's like for me, it wasn't the STDs or anything like that from health class. It was like no, like your balls could twist wrong.
So I was going to bring this up, so it's a nice segue into this. Men's underwear have evolved. My wife, believe it or not, I do not buy my own underwear. Okay,
That is shocking.
I get them as presents. Okay, and they've evolved from there's the flat on the old tighty whities. Okay, to then all of a sudden they started making the flap a little bit more like a pocket. Well, the ones that I've got now have a hammock.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Yeah, I got
And
the
yeah, here's the thing. You're making motions like this. Realize that half the people that
oh, they only
listen to
listen, they
this
don't watch.
they
Yeah, so
don't
I'm making a
watch. So
cupping motion.
yeah, but here's the thing. Okay, they've now made it work to put on my underwear because I have to pull up the underwear. Then I have to jostle the fun bits into the right position so that they're in the hammock properly so I get the right presentation level out of what they're attempting to do because they're nothing more than a push-up bra for your nuts.
Right. So how do you, that's actually my next question then. So like how do you feel about that? Like we've talked about them. Do we feel like the evolution is actually an improvement?
I'm not sure. I don't like the fact that if I don't think about it, all of a sudden my nuts look different because I forgot to put them in the hammock because I'm just used to get my underwear on me and go, not get my underwear on me, position everything, make sure in the mirror everything's looking good, and then go.
Right. So my argument here, because like I also, so it's funny, I've kind of got like two sets. I got like two sets of undies running at a given point in time, right? And like sometimes,
Oh,
you mix and match styles. So
inside out, backwards, you're
yeah,
doing all
exactly.
that.
So I've got a set that has that hammock. And I also have a set that's just like normal underwear for adults, right? I gotta say, the hammock's weird. It's
Yeah,
just weird because
yeah.
sometimes you're like moving fast in the morning and it just catches the shaft without the balls. So you're just like,
Here's the thing. I think honestly, a woman designed these. It's a guess, it's a supposition, it's not something that I know for a fact, but I bet you a woman designed this as punishment for the push-up bra.
counter argument.
Okay?
It was a woman who designed these. It's not punishment for the push-up bra. It's just that she is one of the rare women who actually enjoys bulge. And so she designed an underwear that was like, well, how do we maximize everyone's bulge? How do we make there more bulge in the
So
universe?
really what you're saying is that she's all into false advertising.
Yeah, who
Because
isn't?
because really that's what a push-up bra is false advertising.
I will never complain.
But that's the thing. Men looking at this are that it was obviously designed because men are stupid. We're Neanderthalic.
Yes.
We have no ability to be able to look away when we see the push-up bra doing what a push-up bra does. Women, 99.99% of them don't give a fuck the way the front of our pants look. And
I agree.
it's not like you're going to put little slits in your pants so that the edges of your nuts can hang out in some sort of presentation that's
I,
going
I
to entice anybody.
I also think like the idea is that it's there for comfort, right? But it just all becomes moot immediately when like okay, the two most common forms of pant for a gentleman, I promise you, at any given point in time, it's either going to be like chinos of some jeans or like some variation on a chino or a khaki, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which don't offer a lot of give,
Well, the
right?
idea is to
So
push up against it.
the only thing that these undies could ever do for me is with a pair of sweatpants, right? Like that's the only time that they could ever advertise.
Do
99% of the
you
time they're doing all this work and then I just throw the jeans on.
do you go outside in sweatpants?
Do I go outside in sweatpants?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you not?
No. Never.
Never?
Never.
You don't have like
I
one pair of sweatpants that you feel like I look sick in these.
no, because realize I've been married multiple times, so that's been beaten out of me. I realize the fascination with everything going on my body and in my face is not in my favor. Most of the time, I'm the car accident that people are staring at, not the beautiful animal that people are staring at. I'm not the
No.
stallion that they're wondering, ooh, I wonder what it would be like being mounted by that. They're the, ooh, that's the donkey from Shrek, isn't it?
Hang on now though. Donkey from Shrek. The real thing with the donkey from Shrek is everyone's like, dang, he
Oh,
landed
yeah,
that thick drag.
he did. Okay, but if you notice, that dragon never talks through the entire show, through the entire set of
That's true.
movies.
How
Okay,
many Shrek movies
it.
are there?
Oh God, there was a
5?
new one that came out a little bit ago. I think they're
Beyond
just
Puss in. Oh, that's right. There's like a family now. Yeah. Oh my God.
yeah.
I'm so behind. I haven't paid attention to movies. What am I doing?
I've been on such a weird bender on movies. It's that sort of stuff doesn't even reach my radar anymore. Like, obviously, we've talked on the show before. I got Apple Plus recently because I was watching Severance. I watched the movie Greyhound. I've been getting into more of my war movies again. Um, I'm just in this weird space where there's not a good show for me to watch, except for the one that you and I both have to talk about. Okay, because you know which one I'm talking
I
about
mean, I
because
heard you
I'm the
talk about it
one.
on the last episode.
Uh, I'm I'm the one that got you hooked on
It's
this,
so good.
and
It's
and
so much fun.
you're in the same spot that I am. It's called Mashle, which is magic and muscles. Okay, which is
It's so
it's
absurd.
it is a parody on everything that you see in anime now. And my biggest problem is I've finished season two. Season three they thought was going to come out in spring. It still has not come out. It's not on Crunchyroll. I am at this point jonesing so bad for new Mashal.
So I do have a. It's not going to replace the unadulterated joy that is Mashle. That is the just. This is so ridiculous and fun.
But are
How
you going to give me a character that is even close to Mash
no,
Burnhead?
I can't.
Okay.
I can't. However, I realized I pitched, a little while ago, I pitched Pluto to you, which was a Netflix miniseries that they did. I didn't realize until I finished it what it actually was,
Hmm.
which kind of
Okay.
made me love it even more. It's an it's a reimagining of Astro Boy.
Interesting. Okay, so no spoilers because I haven't
No
watched it.
spoilers.
We'll bring you back at some point so that we can talk about this and just ignore Ryan for a little while he's here. But um, it's interesting because that's one of the things that I love about really deep movies that have come out recently. Have you watched Oppenheimer yet?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did you realize that it's not about Robert J. Oppenheimer?
Tell me more.
It's about Levi Strauss, the guy that was going to become Secretary of Commerce. That movie is
Oh,
all about the destruction of him. Oppenheimer is just the vehicle to get there, but the movie is actually not about Oppenheimer.
I don't know if I entirely agree. I would
You,
argue that Levi Strauss is the frame narrative for Oppenheimer, that we use Levi Strauss's career as a foil.
and now, as we're saying that, I'm realizing that I don't think it's Levi Strauss because that's the jeans company. It's like Levi Strauss or something like that. But I'll
Yeah,
find it here
the
while you continue
shoemaker,
talking. But
the family of a shoemaker. Yeah.
explain how you see that it's the framing, because I'm not against that, but at the same time,
Well,
and it's
ultimately, I
Louis
think what the
Strauss. That's what it is, Louis.
Louis Strauss. Yeah, I think the movie. I think Nolan is most interested in Oppenheimer, but far and away. I don't think the argument is. I guess where I sit with that movie in particular is like it is absolutely about the emotional journey. The movie is most concerned with the emotional journey of a man who came up with a thing that he legitimately thought at one point, if someone set it off, it could start a chain reaction that would ignite the atmosphere. And then he
Yes,
did it anyway.
yes,
Like that movie
and
is
then
about Oppenheimer.
and then
Strauss is
came
used
to
as a
hate
foil.
that he came to hate what he had built and
Yeah.
wanted to use it only to stop all war, not to be the protagonist in a war.
I
But
love that
I say,
they
I,
get into a
I,
little bit of Robert McNamara's philosophy in that movie too.
but I think what you have to think about though is the movie starts with Louis Strauss and it really ends with Louis Strauss. And Oppenheimer is just the vehicle to get you from the beginning to the end.
Hard disagree.
So, and so Christopher Nolan, he has in my top 10, he has two movies that will always sit in my top 10 of all movies. The Dark Knight, I mean, when you read about what happened for them to get ready for that movie and you look at some of the stuff that happened to be able to make that movie come alive. The first one and the third one, not so much. The middle one is the gem of that.
I agree with the
Um,
series. Yeah,
and then 1917. I mean, just
that's Sam
on.
Mendes.
I thought that. Why was I always
Are you
thinking that was
thinking
Christopher
Dunkirk?
Nolan? Dunkirk. Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking the
Yeah,
wrong one. Yeah.
yeah,
So Dunkirk, my only problem with it is it jumps timelines so often that you have to really think about how all the timelines mesh together because they don't make sense if you try to think of that as a linear movie.
yeah. I do love Nolan for how much he loves making an actual movie. I'm
Yeah.
unconvinced that he's ever had sex. I know he has children, but I don't think all of his romance scenes always fucking send me. Speaking of which, Oppenheimer does have I am become death, destroyer of pussy. It's just one of the greatest moments in cinematic history. Cannot
Yes.
believe I like when I like in the back of my head, dude, when I went into that movie, I was like, there's a 95% chance that he does the Bhagavad Gita quote while fucking someone. I like fully went in knowing that was a possibility. And then they
But
actually did it. And I was like, you're an insane person.
but to your point, has Christopher Nolan ever had sex? Well, Elon Musk has children and has not had sex recently. He uses in vitro. Now, they say it's because he had a destructive surgery on his penis for some other medical issue, and that's currently why he has to do everything through in vitro. But he can do it. Christopher Nolan should be able to do it.
I just don't think he like his idea of like of romance is so bizarre. His like I find a lot of the stuff that he does around family and friendship and sort of like filial responsibility to be like genuinely moving. I love the way that Interstellar moves through its story. I love Dunkirk's exploration of kind of like these like the bonds that we form through community and how that affects these sort of big, enormous undertakings in life.
So
And yet,
before
every
we can,
time someone's got a smooch in a Nolan movie, I'm like, what?
yeah, but
That's how we
now
got there?
Interstellar could have been in my top 10, except the near the end they wrecked it. Okay. I have read enough and watched enough on what happens when you get close to a black hole. Okay. The optics were amazing. The optics were correct. Okay. But he's getting torn apart the minute that he's outside of that spaceship because the particles flying around him are going at near the speed of light,
Yep.
which before he hits the event horizon, he's getting utterly destroyed by the matter that is spinning around at super hot levels, let alone the spaghettification, let alone what happens when he gets inside the tesseract, I believe they called it. Um, that ruined it for me because there was so much that they did that was so hyper accurate. They went to Nobel Prize winning physicists to be able to understand how to even image the
The
black hole
fourth,
properly.
the fourth,
And then they
the
blew it
fourth
apart at the
dimension is
end.
love. The fourth dimension is love.
Uh,
Fifth dimension is love.
yeah, well, Matthew McConaughey is still all right to me. So,
All right, okay, oh sure. I fucking love that dude. I'll always watch anything he does.
But here's the weird thing. I've been reading about this, and I want to get your take on this. Technically, if you get going fast enough just before the event horizon, it's spinning around a black hole. Okay, with the time dilation that will occur. Okay, somebody could actually see the front of your head actually go through the back of your head. Because what happens with the time dilation? Somebody watching from somewhere else, you're going to start slowing down to them. Eventually, when you hit the event horizon, you fade away.
Mhm.
Okay, you don't just suddenly blip out; you just fade away. But before that, the time dilation is such that you're moving so fast, but you look like you're moving so slow that every call it a frame, call it whatever you want, the light that is you moving around is actually going to hit the point where it's going to do a complete circle and your head is going to go, the front of your head is going to go look like it's going through the back of your head. It won't physically do that, but it will appear like that based off of the time dilation. And we can get into a whole discussion about how we found out about time dilation because I know how that works. I don't like it. It's very disturbing. It doesn't make any sense, but it is true.
Well, do you ever feel like you experience a small version of time dilation every time, like, okay, this is
Every
this
time
is
we're in a meeting that one guy continues talking forever and ever and ever, is that where you're going to go, or did I just out somebody at our
for the
work?
record, he is talking about me. But but
Oh,
the thing that I feel like confirms the concept of the theory of relativity and the dilation of time is, have you ever been walking somewhere, like you've gotten out of your car and your friend is also in a separate car, and they like pull ahead of you, just like around a corner you can't see, and like park, and then like you're kind of like thinking in your head, and then it feels like they come around the corner just a little too fast. You're like, I feel like you move faster than you should have.
so here's the problem. Everything that you're seeing with your eyes is in the past, anyways.
Yeah, I know. We're always off by like, isn't this a thing too where like technically the shorter you are, the faster you experience the world?
Yes, in theory.
Like by like yeah, by like several hundredths of a millisecond or whatever because of how many
And
of the
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just ages horribly very quickly. Yeah, I get it.
yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just like experiences the world in just slow motion at this point because he's just
So,
so tall.
so there's some interesting things that can come out of this, but none of our audience are here to hear us talk about physics. Trying to get it to work with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar versus I don't know. Uh, God, I'm trying to think of the right little person to use at this point.
Peter Dinklage?
Peter Dinklage. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
That should have been the default, especially considering you probably didn't go back this far. But in our first celebrity cage match, we actually had Peter Dinklage fighting Wee Man.
I do feel
Yes,
like Peter Dinklage would explicitly be upset about that.
it was a random number generator that picked the order at which everybody fought, and somehow it managed to make the two little people that we had out of 64 fight each other.
Speaking of Peter, are you going to see his new movie?
He has a new movie.
They're doing a reboot of The Toxic Avenger starring Peter Dinklage.
Interesting. I'm
It's out very soon. It's like
My
this
problem
month.
with this is I'm going to have so many other things that are going to come up in the next six
Oh,
weeks
I mean, we both
that
are.
you're going to have to remind me of this because the Pluto thing is going to stick now because you've told me twice. But remembering Peter Dinklage does not have free rent in my head.
Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage.
The only, I mean, I've seen him in several movies. There's some really bad movies out there that he's been. Penelope
Unfortunately,
is
yeah,
probably the
he hasn't
worst
had a
movie.
good like tear, which is a bummer
Yeah.
because he is very talented, but his he hasn't had like. Have you watched like the acting wise the movie that put him on the map? the station agent?
No, I have not.
Well, I know I can't just like flood you with recommendations, but I would say if you want to be like reminded that Peter Dinklage is like super good at his job and like a phenomenal performer, The Station Agent is this little indie drama that he did with Bobby Cannavale and Michelle Williams. I forget who directed it. Um, but 90 minutes in and out, just some
Mm.
good drama. You'll laugh, you might cry, probably not. Mostly you'll just go like, "Ooh, those are some feelings."
They're on the board, below
Beautiful.
the word cock, because
Below the word.
yes, it all comes together at some point in this show. So that realize this is the one part that's going to be weird is I'm going to have to come up with the title for this show all by myself. And we decided probably middle of season 2 that it was always going to be an iteration of the same letter beginning the 3 words, and it would always be 3 words. So now I've got to find 2 other words that go with cuck. And it's not a stretch considering our last episode ended with the word splooge, and it's not the first time we've used the word splooge this season. So you would figure it would be easier than this, but I've got to both come up with the 3 word combination that goes along with this without Ryan's help, because Ryan just snaps to these instantly. He'll be like cocktail or something like that almost immediately. I have to figure it out, and then I have to get the AI to produce something for the cover art to go along with it. And
Hmm.
that's where I fear, because Ryan's figured out how to evade the bans based off of some of the words that we put into stuff. Like I think Caillou crotch candy was probably our worst. Yes, we went there. Not only that, our last episode had Billy Corgan and Caillou riding.
I
Caillou was
did
riding
see
a
the
pony.
image. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. That's good. I like
yeah.
I like Billy Corgan and Caillou as like a like unit. I think that that's actually correct.
Well, have you seen the picture of Billy Corgan dressed as Caillou on stage?
I have not. Did you know that Billy
Oh,
Corgan and Bill Burr are actually related?
I believe Bill Burr is vehemently against that concept. It was put in front of him. We've talked about that before on this show.
Oh, on the
It was
show?
it was put in front, like they almost ambushed Bill Barr with that.
Yeah,
It's not Bill Burr, sorry.
yeah.
Bill Barr's a completely different story. But Bill Burr was not happy, and
Oh, I remember that
Ryan
clip. Yeah, 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 yeah,
and
yeah.
Ryan was pretty sure that if we brought Bill Burr into that and validated that scenario, that Bill Burr would come and hunt him down. He would specifically set up a show in DC just so that he could go knock on Ryan's door and have somebody else pay for the hotel room for him to stay there after he murdered Ryan.
Yeah, Bill Burr's my Bostonian king. I'll
Yeah.
let him get away with anything.
So we've got to go in a couple of seconds, but
Okay.
I have to ask the question. And you knew this was coming, so you may have had time to prepare for it, but we haven't mentioned it on the show, and I don't know if you looked it up. But do you remember the knee wetters question I asked you?
I do remember the knee wetters question, and I did go through a couple episodes, like seeing if I could just get to. So I don't know. I like looked at. I don't know. I tried to
So,
find what it means, but I don't know what it is.
so there is an ad that was put on Craigslist for somebody that wanted somebody to come over and drizzle water from a ladle on their knees while they were in the bathtub. Okay. They were
Okay.
going to pay them and they had to be able to sing. That was the catch at the end. And there's debate whether it was real or not. And we had like 5 episodes in a row that we went harking back to this.
Hmm.
And one of the things that I said was the perfect song for a knee wetter to sing. I started out with Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler. I think that would be just as insane as it could be. And then I believe the other one that I came up with was Don't Cry by Guns N' Roses. Because there's a lot of Guns N' Roses songs that you could play there. November Rain,
Like, what would
Welcome to the
I want
Jungle.
someone? What would I want someone to sing me
No,
while they're
it's what
doing
would
that?
you sing?
Oh, what would
You
I
have
sing if I was doing that for someone else?
You have to be ladling water from a bathtub on somebody's knees
Dude, the
while
answer,
singing.
okay, wait. The answer is Time to Remember from the Fantastics, the musical. Think about it.
Yeah.
Time to remember a kind of September when life was sweet and oh so mellow. And just you're like pouring water over dude's knees. Try to remember the kind of September when you were a tender and callow fellow. Right?
So
Perfect. Perfect.
so I want you to think on this one then, because there are better songs.
For me to sing, I don't
Yes,
know.
and when we bring you back, I will ask you this. I'm not saying on the spot right now, but I can even think of like three songs from Little Orphan Annie that would be more disturbing to sing while you're doing that
I'm
activity.
so actually sorry. Okay, if we're talking about disturbing, I have a different answer. I actually think that I could legitimately make someone have a good time while I was doing this if I
Okay,
sang them. Like
so
I
maybe
think,
maybe we
yeah,
should rate it based off of what's the best song for enjoyment versus what's the
yeah,
best song to make sure you never have to do that ever again in your life.
right. Like actually, yeah, the risk of me singing Try to Remember from the Fantastics is they might ask me to do that again. Like they'd have a good time. Like that's a song that I got ready to go.
Yeah, because I'm thinking you could do something from Little Orphan Annie, okay, or you go the complete opposite way and sing "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor" by Drowning Pool.
I do think you could get someone to kick you out of their house if you did the rap from Hamilton.
Yes, "Mother" by Danzig.
Okay. I think another, I'm still like very much in musical mode. I think like another option is, is Somewhere That's Green from a little shop, from Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh,
Or just do the dentist song from
yes,
Little
yeah,
Shop.
yeah. Uh, I mean, there's so many possibilities that could fit so many niches. Like there
Yeah.
have to be professional knee winners. There has to be a union for these people at this point. If they haven't unionized, they haven't thought through their occupation properly.
Yeah, I do think like also it just feels like such an old-timey activity.
Yes, I,
Like I
I
can imagine it being a guy's. Oh yes, that's right. It's 1926, and I'm a professional knee wetter.
yeah. Well, we talked about it. There's got to be a person. If you're going to do that, there has to be a person that their job is specifically to make sure your toe doesn't get stuck in the tube that goes into the faucet spigot. Like that.
Yeah,
That's a
because you're
job
gonna be
too.
kicked back, right? Yeah,
Yep.
you know.
And the only reason I thought of that was because there was an episode of the Dick Van Dyke Show where his wife on the show got her toe stuck in the spigot, and that was the entire episode is her in the bathtub with her toe stuck up in there until they could get a plumber to come get her out. I mean, there's lots of ways that this could go. We've got to end this very shortly, but I'm going to give one more chance. And I know I didn't tell you I was going to do this, but I'm trying to get Face Cheese back together. And I've talked about Face Cheese maybe once on this. It was the band that I put together and then disassembled when we were in Sweden last time with who I was talking with at that point to be able to make Face Cheese happen. But what I realized is um he has to play that giant plastic saxophone that Jack Black plays,
Mm-hmm.
the kazoo based saxophone. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
while I play the triangle, but it does nothing if we don't have somebody playing the theremin. Would you be willing to play the theremin on Face Cheese?
I'd learn how to play the theremin. Hell yeah.
I don't think you learn how to play the
Yeah,
theremin.
you just gotta do it.
You, you,
I'd fuck around.
I don't know how you could learn anything because there's no skill to it. It all sounds like crap. Okay, and here's the thing. In looking up this episode, some stuff for this episode, Did you know that the most famous place where the theremin is known for, it was never actually used for? Star Trek, the original series, that's not the theremin doing that. They had an orchestra that was playing that. It just happened to sound like
Sounds
a
like a
theremin.
theremin.
Yep. But it is not true that the theremin was used on Star Trek.
Dude, life is a lie. Why do I?
And I mean, that's my goal here is to make people want to end their lives. Normally, it's the people listening to the show, but I'm more than happy to make somebody that's on the show want to end their life as well.
I can go for beer number 7.
So,
I'm kidding.
with that,
To the kids at home, drink responsibly. This is beer number 5.
yes, yeah. So, we do have to go because we're out of time. I'd like
Yep.
to thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've just got to find a way to make sure that that iceberg hits the side of the cruise ship just right. And then I can replace Ryan without having to worry about any consequences from
Yeah,
it because it was his fucking choice to go out on a boat in iceberg land.
it was
So,
in literally iceberg land.
yep. So, anyways, Ryan may or may not be back by the time we do the next episode. He's technically on a boat for 3 weeks. You're probably going to hear this in week 1 of his trip. I'm actually talking to the people that are listening right now, just so Daniel here isn't expecting, oh, I've got to go listen to this show right away now. But I'm going to end the show with our traditional moment of Zen.
I want to fucking change the energy. It's a great energy, but I want to fucking take it to another level. I want to fucking switch it, flip it, and reverse it. Saxophone right now. I don't think you got the memo. About 30 seconds ago, this turned into a dance party. I'm gonna need to see you motherfuckers dance!
That was
So,
fun. Thanks for
yeah,
having me, dude.
that's the
That's a
thing.
blast just chopping it up.
That's the idea is it's just stupidity. It's just coming up with the worst possible stuff that we can come up with and then trying to make AI images to represent it in real life.
I still think for me, the thing that I'm going to be stuck thinking about is like how dumb that like every pair of underwear now has a banana hammock. Like it's so bad. Like it actually
Yeah.
is actively not fun. Like I didn't get into this on the actual thing, and I guess you could use this for a blooper, but okay, fine. Dude, the number of times that because of the nature of how those like little banana hammock things on the undies works now and like where the flap falls, that like look, I've been like hooking up with someone and it's just like the pants come off and like dick is like already out, like through the flap. It doesn't happen with regular underwear.
Right. Did you ever even use the flap on regular underwear?
But with the hammock ones, it like opens up like a fucking trap door. Not even a trap door, it's like a blast door. And my dick's just like fucking bloop.
I've never used the flap to take a piss in regular underwear. Never. I just don't.
Why would you? You're just asking to get piss on your fucking undies.